welcome back to the Fumble Live. Thank you so much for tuning in today. We are talking about two enemies that are now pairing up on the Sixers. I don't even know what they were thinking when they made this happen, but I find it very amusing. We're also talking about the Chicago Bulls because they are looking pretty good. Before we dive in, make sure you subscribe to our channel, tap the bell for notifications, give this video a thumbs up, and leave a comment below. Here's the Fumble Squad. I'm Devin Howard. You can find me on Instagram as @DevinHoward.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Jackie Ray. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at JRayTheFanatic.
Jackie, how are you doing today? How are you feeling? I was saying that you look like a disco queen before we went live, and I want everybody in the chat to take a moment to appreciate the disco vibes that we're getting right now. But how are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing really good. I'm excited to talk about some of this news, especially what we're not going to do. I was a little late even getting on here today because I was trying to find out what is really going on with these two individuals, and nothing. So it's going to be fun to just try to figure out what we can figure out. So that's what we're going to do.
All right, so we got to get our detective hats on for what we're not going to do. Everybody get your little magnifying, you know that emoji that has the little thing on his eye? Yeah. All right, let's jump right in and talk about these two beefing athletes who are now teammates. I think it's so funny. So do you guys remember when Joel Embiid called Andre Drummond a bum? Because they're teammates now. And that's not the only time these two have butt heads. So Andre Drummond agreed to a one-year deal with the Sixers. This happened on Monday. And it's just completely, to me, so funny that this is even happening because they have been feuding since 2017. You guys might remember. Now, Leo, can you pull up the first couple of assets here? So you guys might remember that several years ago back, I think it was October of 2017, Joel Embiid said that Andre Drummond doesn't play any defense, as you can see here from this Bleacher Report screenshot. And then Andre Drummond kind of like responded back to that on Twitter. They went back and forth for a little bit. And then Andre said that Joel couldn't play back-to-back games. And Joel says that he, quote, owns a lot of real estate in Andre Drummond's head, and I'm on my way to build more. And now they're actually going to be, I guess, building some real estate together in each other's heads because they're teammates. They're literally working for the same goal on the same team, which is so funny. Reactions were really amusing online. Here's one that says, can I just be in the room when Sixers, Joel Embiid, and Andre Drummond meet for the first time? I would love to see that too. How awkward is that going to be? This reaction says, wow, Joel Embiid and Andre Drummond beat LeBron and Bronny to the distinction of being the first father and son to play together. Another I think actually that was the last tweet that we had, but I am trying to wrap my head around how these two are going to be able to put their beef in the past. I wonder if they're going to be able to do it. I feel like that would be really hard because this is something that's been going on for several years now. But when you are kind of working towards that common goal and you want to, you know, make it to the finals, maybe they will be able to put their personal feelings aside. But another question I have is, why do they need another big? So before we get into the drama, Jackie, what is your reaction to seeing the Sixers sign Andre Drummond?
I giggled when I first saw it. When I first saw it, I have to be honest, I thought it was a joke because, you know, I've been getting those tweets that said so-and-so when so-and-so, and then you open it up and it's just some random spam account. So when I first saw this, I did think it was a joke until I saw Woj tweet it. And then I was like, oh, damn, wait, what? And then I had to like really process that because we've all, I mean, maybe not some of you guys who've not entered the workforce yet. We've all had to work with that person that we really just don't like. And I can tell you it is a struggle. The only thing that makes it okay in the regular world is you can kind of go back to your own little cube and not really deal with that person until you actually have to deal with that person. They got to deal with each other all the time. This is hilarious. I agree with that user that I just want to see that moment in time. Like, how do you even pretend? Because trust me when I tell you, they're going to just pretend. How do you pretend to squash that beef? Because you're just going to be like, all right, bro, it's cool. But it's not cool. You guys know it's not cool. So I don't really understand this. I get wanting Andre to come off the bench. I think that probably could have worked better here than it did. I still am putting that on squarely on Frank Vogel's shoulders. He just did not know how to manage the Gasol Drummond aspect. So I think that maybe the 76ers are like, okay, Frank Vogel's not good. We can make this work. Have him come off the bench. That makes sense. So I understand wanting another big in that aspect, but I feel like there had to be a different big. Had to be somebody else. Y'all could have gone and tried to seek out if that's what you wanted to do. Because what you don't do is bring in a guy and say, hey, Joel, so how you doing? We signed Andre. Like, how do you even have that conversation?
I know. And like what we're hoping with the Sixers is that there's going to be a little bit more chemistry and a little bit more love between teammates. I think it was clear that with Joel Embiid, he was growing increasingly frustrated with Ben Simmons. Of course, Ben Simmons is still there because that's a whole conversation for a different day, but the Sixers are just being completely insane with the whole Ben Simmons situation. But now we're bringing in somebody who already has a history of tension with Joel. I just wonder, is it really going to be that easy for them to kind of, put that in the past and move forward? I have had to work with my fair share of people who I'm not a fan of. And I think in general, I'm pretty good at not letting anybody else know how much I dislike a person. Maybe that's the Gemini in me, but people are always very surprised when they find out I am not a fan of, a specific person, because I'm always very friendly, but it does make the job harder to do. And it makes it so that I'm less excited about the work that I have to do. So this is going to be very, very difficult. Let's talk about the Ben Simmons.
I cannot do it. Like, if I don't like you, not only can you tell from my whole body, I'm going to let you know. Like, every time you come over to my desk and want to say something, look, you ain't got to come over here with that small talk. I don't like you. Keep it moving. Go that way. Like, I am very verbal. If I don't like you, there's not going to be, I wonder if Jackie already done told you she don't like you. Don't ask them questions. And I'm going to make sure that so there's no misunderstandings. I don't want that problem. I agree with what I think it was Kevin in the chat that they should have kept Dwight Howard. Absolutely. If you just need somebody to support, then Dwight's your guy. And guess what? There's no beef with Dwight. This is somebody being petty. I can't see it any other way. Just somebody being petty. I don't know what else this is, but this is going to be fun to watch. It's going to be fun to watch.
If it's someone being petty, then that is just pure sabotage, because this is like not what the Sixers need right now. They need just a nice cohesive team where everybody likes each other and everybody does what they're supposed to do. But of course, that's not going to happen. Let's talk about Ben Simmons a little bit, because obviously the Sixers are asking a lot in return for Ben. It's an amount that seems so outlandish, and just like these people are out of their minds for asking for as much as they are. Is it just reaching a point now where it's obvious that what they want in return for Ben Simmons is too high, and there's just no team that's willing to pay up, so they're having to kind of make do with these other situations?
I mean, I said that going into this situation. I said that the Sixers were going to be shooting themselves in the foot if they were asking for what they would have got for 2018 Ben Simmons. We've had entirely too much time, too much tape, too much missed shots under the bridge, too much seeing how in his head he is to be asking for 2018 Ben Simmons. If you're really hopeful that the 2018 Ben Simmons is in there somewhere, you've got to bring him out, because no other team, the only reason you would get somebody and pay what they want for him is if you think he's going to impact your franchise immediately. And when you look at the tape on Ben Simmons, you just can't feel that way. You can't feel like he's going to come in there and all of a sudden become this amazing shooter that he's not been since 2018. You just can't do that. So there's only one organization that can invest that time in it if they want to develop him, and that is the 76ers. Everybody else is literally trying to impact their organizations right now. We're going to talk a little bit later in the post-up about what the Bulls are doing. Immediate impact to that franchise just by what they're doing. And that's what you want to see. You want to see guys that can come in and immediately, we're not doing development deals out here. That's not what we're doing. And Ben's too old to be trying to develop, and he's declining. You can't keep asking me for all this. No. I think they either need to really set in on the fact that, hey, we need to lower our price significantly, or we need to figure out how we can make Ben Simmons better. It's either one or the other.
So Kevin Lang in the chat says, Ben is an all-star. We're not trading Ben Simmons, or I don't know if he meant BS as in bullshit or if he means BS as in Ben Simmons, but I have no idea because it could go either way in this situation. But what I'm wondering with Kevin is like the news has spoken. There's already the rumors about what they're asking for. There's NBA insiders who are saying that they are asking for like a giant return when they're trying to deal off Ben Simmons. So obviously the Sixers are looking to offload him. They're just not having any luck in getting a deal to stick. So I don't know, to me it just is interesting that we have somebody in the chat saying that that's not happening when that literally is what's happening here. And Ben is proving that even though he might have been an all-star, he isn't right now. And he needs to figure out a way to kind of get back to that or just kind of accept that he is rapidly declining in his NBA career. One last question that I want to ask you, Jackie, before we move on. With Joel Embiid, somebody in the chat, I don't remember who, said that the team probably consulted him before signing Andre Drummond. Do you think that happened? Would Joel have really passed off on this?
I mean, if they consulted him, they didn't care what he had to say about it. Because if they consulted him, it was like, hey, Joel, what do you think about Andre? I think Andre can kick rocks. He can go play on the highway for all I'm concerned. Okay, about that highway. He's going to take the highway here. That's how that conversation went. If they consulted him, they didn't care what he had to say. I promise you that.
Okay, I think that makes sense. I don't even think they necessarily consulted him. I wouldn't go so far as to say that happened. Okay, let's talk about the Chicago Bulls because they went through what might have been the fastest rebuild we have ever seen. The front office is they're just like powering through this offseason, and they're looking really good. They're building a very, very strong roster of talent, and it's kind of exciting to see. So they signed DeMar DeRozan with a 3-year, $85 million deal. And I think that was a really good move for them because with him on the squad, you get one of the best available free agents, and now you also get a legitimate perimeter alongside Lonzo and Zach LaVine. So they did do this rebuild mode really, really quickly. It's looking to be pretty successful for them. And do you feel like after adding all of this talent, especially DeMar DeRozan, coupled up with Lonzo for his strengths and everything that he's able to do, are they really going to make strides as a title contending team this upcoming season?
I don't know if I'm going to say title contending this upcoming season. I think what they've done is great. I think they're automatically in a playoff situation. I'm not going to say they're title contending just yet. I think it's too soon for that. But I still think what they've done is amazing. I think Lonzo is going to strive in this situation. This is the first time I've ever said that about Lonzo Ball. And I really think he's going to thrive in this situation. I think the big thing for me with this situation is Zach LaVine's contract is up end of next season. So I think, you having Alex Caruso, Lonzo Ball, DeMar DeRozan, that gives you, obviously, it's a little bit of a different skill set, but it gives you some wiggle room because Zach's already talking about he wants respect on his new upcoming contract. So if he prices himself out, you don't have to panic and go out there and get a big star. You can get somebody, kind of middle level as far as money, and you can move on towards the future. But do I think they're title contending right now? I think that's a big ask for this team. I think it's great what they're doing. I think it's a building moment. I think they should be very proud of what they have right now, and they should try to strive. And maybe they surprise us, but right now, no, I don't think they're a title contender. I think they're playoff bound for sure, but maybe they get bumped in the second round. I just don't think it's a title situation, but I think they should be proud of what they're doing right now.
I think so too. Do you feel like they can be a team that actually gives the Nets, the Bucks, the Sixers a little something to worry about, or do those three teams still kind of reign supreme?
I think those teams still reign supreme. They're not, the Nets and the Bucks are not looking at Chicago and be like, oh, we worried now. They're looking at, oh, good job, youngsters. They probably acknowledge what they're doing, but they ain't scared. Like, not at all.
Good job, youngsters. That's so funny. Okay, another interesting shift that we're seeing in the NBA, the West has always been considered the stacked conference. It's always been the conference with the best teams, the most talented players, but we're kind of seeing this shift happen where the Eastern Conference is looking more stacked because of these major moves that they've been making. Would you agree that now going into this next season that the Eastern Conference is more stacked than the West?
I mean, I think it's more stacked, but I still think the Western Conference is the harder conference. It just is. It's like, you know, you have probably down to the 10th seed of really good teams, you know, and I obviously the East is getting better in that aspect as well, but you can really talk about going 1 through 10 in the West and those teams, those tight races. What have we been talking about this whole time? The first time they did the play-in, the only reason the play-in mattered was because of the West, because it was such a tight race, you know, from 1 through 10. This last season, even with the Nets, it still was the West that the play-in meant a little bit more. Those top seeds were already kind of decided in the East. I think the East is getting better. I think the league in general is getting better. But I think when you're talking about the talent kind of being more evenly matched and guys doing what they're supposed to be, because let's not forget, we still live in a West where Clay and Steph haven't played together in a while. So I still think the West is the harder conference. Not sleeping on the East, but no, I still think the West is the one that's going to be harder to be won. It's still the Wild Wild West over here. It's still really tight.
Yeah, well, it is kind of cool to see that there is sort of this leveling out of the playing field happening between conferences. I do agree that in the West it is still a lot more competitive. But that being said, we can't deny the powerhouse that is the Nets. We've got the Bucks as the reigning champions. Now the Bulls are looking better, and maybe this is not going to be their title contending season, but if they gel well together, build that chemistry, that could be coming up, you know, in the season after this, the next season. So it is cool. There is sort of this leveling out happening. We are wrapping up Need to Know News a little bit early today. So Jackie, I know we have a lot to talk about in the post up. Let's get to it.
Yes, let's get to the post up. Jeremiah, I see you in the chat. Do me a favor. Do not skip that anger management class. We're going to need you to go ahead and go. Don't do that. All right, now let's get... We've talked about this one again just right now about Chicago and what they're doing. Like I said, I think this gives them some wiggle room. This DeMar DeRozan ad to me is fantastic, especially when you consider who DeMar DeRozan is, what he will mean to that franchise. I think they have now this kind of solid vet that they can lean on. And again, I think it gives them wiggle room if Zach kind of loses his mind contractually at the end of his contract. But he's excited. He took to Twitter to say goodbye to San Antonio. I feel like he kind of wanted to be there. But at the end of the day, it's just business. He says, I want to take the time to thank the Spurs organization and the fans in San Antonio for embracing me the way that you have over the past 3 seasons. The Spurs lived up to their reputation as one of the classiest organizations in the league during my time with the team. I'm grateful for the times I shared with my teammates, our coaches, and staff. Thank you. And I think that thank you is very much kind of how the Spurs are. They are very much a team. They very much play well together. I really, really like this. You guys tell me in the chat, but again, let's take a look at it. We've talked about it, but I want us to see it visually. Somebody said I was crazy thinking that they would make it to the second round, but look at this visually and tell me you don't think that there's a solid maybe that this team at least goes to the second round. Y'all let me know in the chat. I'll shout you out in a minute, but I think it's great. I think it's a beautiful thing. The Bulls are kind of, I don't want to say they're unassuming, but they're not one of those organizations, at least now, that you hear a lot of craziness about. So I think this is a good look for everybody. Jeremiah, I know you were happy to hear this next news about your boy, Steph Curry, because this is a big deal. He signed a $215 million deal with the Warriors, making him the only player to ever sign 2 deals over $200 million. That is a big deal. I think he deserves the money. Let's just be clear. He has transformed that franchise, transformed the way we play basketball in the league. Draymond is happy. That's the beautiful thing. Y'all know how Draymond gets when he gets upset. But he created a whole meme out of Steph. He said, 200 more on that ass. I love that. It's 4:30 a.m. in Tokyo, though. Why are you up? Shouldn't you be preparing for something? Get some sleep, my guy. I get it. It's probably hard to sleep on those cardboard boxes, though. So that's probably why you're awake So I get that. But I love this. See, this is what you want to see. You want to see, teammates that kind of love each other. And I think this next user is right as well. He says, this is a whole meme. We have a new meme with Steph. I'm going to be using that a lot. Every time somebody says something stupid, I'm going to put that meme of Steph going, okay. I love memes, and I love this one. Now, this one, I wanted to take some time and talk about because I know you guys got an opinion about it. So I'm going to slow down on this one because I love this. I wanted a package deal with Dame and CARMELO, okay? Basketball gods only heard half my desire. That's fine. I'm going to take what I can get because I actually am glad to see the besties getting to play together. Melo was ready, though. He had this tweet already ready. I love this. I love seeing CARMELO getting to play with his best friend. This is going to be a good look. I know y'all think we old out here, but, it's like fine wine old. We get better with time kind of thing. It's not old. Fans have been rooting for Russ and CARMELO to get a ring for a long time, so I agree with this next user as well. Definitely want these two men to get a ring before it's all said and done. It says, if Bron helps Melo and Russ get a ring, the GOAT debate is over. I think the GOAT debate is already over, but if y'all want to use this as the reason for that GOAT debate to be over, I am with that. But this fan feels a little bit differently. So let's take a look at this one. He says, I'm an honest Laker fan, and I think the Malik Monk and Melo pickup was horrible. And I speak for all of us Lakers fans when I say we won't make it past the play-in. Sir, I agree with the person below. He said you a fan of anime or something. You don't watch basketball. Stop acting like you do. You do not. You got two Laker fans over here. Devin, do you agree?
I don't agree at all. I hate it when people are like, on behalf of every Lakers fan, we suck. Like, no. That's up to you. I agree. He is probably watching. He's probably playing NBA 2K and not really watching the actual game.
Yep. Ty in the chat says Los Angeles Golden Girls. Let me tell you something. Golden Girls is one of the longest syndicated series. That show is still winning. So we're going to be winning too. And you're going to be watching while we winning. That's all I got to say about that one. But let's go into this one thing because CARMELO's already out here putting in that work. Y'all see this? Look, let me just get this one off and walk up. Let me try one more. Let me think about it. Put it over here. Bam. Like, I'm just out here casually doing things that people like Ben Simmons should be doing because he's way younger than me. Way younger. So I just love this. CARMELO, welcome to LA. Hope I see you in the street I wonder if he would remember me. Probably not. I got to interview him. He had been in Denver for maybe like a week and a half. And I wasn't even like in my interviewing thing. I was just saw him in the street and was like, I hadn't even graduated from school yet. It was just like, there's Carmelo Anthony. And I was like, let me just talk to him. So if you remember me, I'm going to lose my whole entire mind. But I'm still going to try to find you, sir. So I'm so excited to have CARMELO here. Very exciting for me. Now let's move on to something that's not so exciting. Ben Simmons. Okay? This man, I appreciate, but he does this though. He goes to his social media and he shows us, oh, I can do certain things. I can do this, that, and the third. So now he's trying to copy Steph with the whole shirtless workout. You biting off of your boy. And look you got to read the room, my guy. You captured yourself about to make the shot. And we've seen you time and time again not make the shot. You might want to take the shot of you actually making the shot. So, of course, we were all thinking exactly what this next user said. He said he really acting like he was about to shoot in that second pick. And so I was thinking it. I feel like we was all thinking it. But this is proof right here that Ben Simmons needs to get out his feelings and get into therapy because you taking this way too personal, fam. He says, worldwide, your lips look like you got stung by a bee, nutty professor behind. First of all, people with big lips are beautiful. Let's not sleep on the big lips. And he showed a picture of this man with the big lips. That man's lips is beautiful. You tripping. Big lips is beautiful. Don't. That's not what we do over here. We don't do that. But the funny thing is, this man is commenting on another. This is what this user says. He says, why is a grown professional with a girlfriend worried about another man's lips? As if big lips ain't beautiful. Let's not forget that part. But then he clapped back. Worldwide said, float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. I feel like that is a challenge to a one-on-one shootout. Not like a full, but let's just do shootout. Let's just see who's going to make more baskets. I don't like Ben Simmons showing all of his emotions like this. You need to be showing your skill set, sir. Devin, what do you think about him being all in his feelings about this moment?
I mean, I feel like Ben needs to realize that he really disappointed the fans and his teammates in the playoffs, and people are going to poke fun at him. And I've always said, even though I love it when people like clap back and they get into these arguments on Twitter and Instagram and whatever, it is so much better to just ignore it and let it roll off. But the fact that he's going through his comments, reading them and responding, it just shows that he's devoting way too much time to this. Maybe it's time he actually calls back the Sixers front office, stops ghosting them, instead of sitting there getting his little Twitter fingers ready and clapping back at like random people on the internet. Also, that man was attractive. So, and the big lips thing, that like what you said, women are spending so much money to get filler in their lips. So he's wrong. He dated somebody who has like a whole face full of fillers. So what is he even upset about?
I remember I got teased for my lips all through school, right? And then I go back to Denver and I see the same girls who teased me. I'm like, you bought those, Miss Ma'am. I remember when you teased me about mine. What you doing? Did you just take my whole picture and try to mimic mine, you little heifer? Big lips is beautiful, okay? That's all I got to say about that. We're not clowning big lips over here. That's not what we're doing. But yes, Ben, I would highly recommend, like Devin said, you either make a call to the 76ers or a therapist or both, dare I say. So let's move on to this next one, because these two guys are actually friends, which is the funny thing about this, because they just have this moment in time. You guys remember when PJ Tucker and Kevin Durant had that moment in time and he was kind of cussing at him or whatever, and then Mama was on the sideline and told him I love you or whatever. So when he was posting his whole, you know, my trophy and thank you Milwaukee, he posted this picture as well. And Kevin Durant got on his little Instagram post and said, can't front, you looking like my son in this pic. Congratulations though, broski. I actually love this because, again, this is two guys that we know really like each other. They do argue like brothers sometimes, but they do really like each other. So I am with this, and I love that he said congrats, broski, with that kind of jab at the end. And then this guy's like, yeah, you look like his dad, except Durant got little girl arms. Can we go back to that picture? Did he have little, because I know does he have little girl arms? Maybe compared to PJ. Well, his arms do look like mine. Okay. All right. I'll let you have that one. Not little girl arms, though. But I'll let you have that one. But let's move on to this next one, because this next one is the all-time saying what you really mean in public, saying probably the right thing in public, and then the corporation that's backing you saying, whoa, 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 you didn't say that right. You made us look bad. We don't like that. Because we all know that Kyrie is not the first person who didn't like his shoes. Shaq didn't like his shoes. Jordan didn't like his shoes. Kobe didn't like. And I think Kyrie is the first one to say it so blatantly, like these shoes are trash. I don't know if Shaq or MJ or even Kobe said these shoes are trash. I think they said something more like, I'm disappointed. You know, it would be nice if Nike did X, Y, and Z. They were a little bit more diplomatic in what they said. So Kyrie now is trying to be a little bit more diplomatic as well. His first one was not. His first one was like, I don't have nothing to do with that whack shoe. It's ugly. It's trash, blah, blah, blah. Now he says, when you're building something great, there sometimes comes a point when you need to recalibrate and refocus to ensure everyone involved is aligned. This is where the Kai 11 brand and Nike are. It was unfair to put the blame on Nike or any one person. With that being said, we are diligently working, restructuring, and reimagining things together to make sure we get this right. So before I show you the other tweets about this, I just want to go to you really quick, Devin. He clearly walked it back. This is night and day different than what he said initially. And what fans agreed with. The fans agreed with him 100% that those new Kyries were trash. Why do you think he walked it back? I mean, he didn't walk it entirely back. He didn't say that those shoes weren't trash. He says, yeah, we got to reimagine some things. Why do you think he walked it back like this?
I don't really know. I mean, Kyrie's always the center of criticism, and maybe he got tired of it. Maybe they paid him extra, like to me, it seems like money might have been involved to get him to just be a little less vocal about it or a little less openly critical, but I don't really know. Do you have any theories about that?
No, I see some people in the chat. Well, Ty says Kobe made it known. Kobe did make it known, but I just don't think he used the phrase, these shoes are trash. That is a very, especially for a shoe head, to say a shoe is trash, I think that's a very derogatory. I don't think Kobe said anything like that, but I don't remember for sure. Kevin Pryor says, I think a lawyer had a conversation with Kyrie and his team. That could be. Somebody from Nike was like, all right, you've basically violated your contract with us by saying this is trash. But, I mean, the fans agreed that that was trash. So Twitter had some thoughts on this as well. It says Kyrie is a perfectionist. He's passionate about his brand and only wants to put out a shoe that he can be proud of. Nothing wrong with that. I agree with that as well. Maybe sometimes when you're caught up in that moment and nobody even asks you your opinion about something that has your name on it and you see it, you're like, that is ugly. I could see that being your knee-jerk reaction, especially since you shoe heads agreed with him. So I agree on that one. This next user said, sure, but Nike has a business to run, orders to meet, and deadlines. Kyrie has to meet those contractually. I'd imagine this is his catalyst for negotiating a new deal because you can't exactly hold out like you can in hoops. That's another thought process as well. Like he's now trying to say, okay, if you don't want me to say the shoe is trash, you have to come consult me now. I don't care about your deadlines. If you got to put this out, you got to consult me. I don't want my name on something that I don't agree with. So that user might be right as well. It might be now he's trying to renegotiate. My question is for you shoe heads out there, because you know I'm not a shoe head, so please help me. Does this mean the shoe is going to come out, or does this mean Kyrie is saying, nope, we're going to reimagine it? We heard what you said. Nike's heard what I said, and we're going to do this over. Because they do have deadlines. I would imagine that shoe's already in production. Devin, does that shoe still come out, especially when they receive this feedback from the fans that they don't like it? Does that shoe still come out, or do they do it over?
I feel like they should do it over. I think that if it's already receiving such heavy criticism from the fans, people don't like it, what would be the point in releasing it and continuing to make more? I'm sure they do have a supply right now, like you said, that's already been produced. That's the kind of shoe that might end up at like Marshall's, right? Like people are not gonna, so they're just gonna ship it off somewhere else, count it as a loss, and make something new. At least that's what I think would be the best business decision here if people already are not happy with it.
Yeah, my Glock says they're probably going to do it over. But, I'm Ghost says shoe will come out, but Kyrie is going to have a hand in the next one. And then Ty says, no, Nike didn't. They should have went to Kyrie with options to see the shoe release. So I don't know. I'm going to keep an eye on it. I mean, to see which one it is, because I don't think you introduce like little previews of the shoe if the shoe's not already going to come out. So it's going to be interesting to see. But it's not something you want to spend marketing on either. Like you said, it might end up in Ross or Marshalls or something like that. So we shall see. All right, let's get on to this next one, because I think you guys will probably remember that moment in time. Well, it was a long moment in time, so I'm pretty sure you do remember, regarding the Joker. And we all kind of talked about his weight and said he was too big, it made him slow, things of that nature. And he was like, no, this is my weight. This is where I'm comfortable. When I'm too light, I don't feel like I have as much power, so I like this weight. Unfortunately, then he got COVID, and then he lost that weight. And then all of a sudden, this was like Joker 2.0. He was just amazing after he lost that weight. He still was slow, but he was a powerful slow. So now he's lost more weight. And I was comfortable with the weight that he had in the playoffs, but he's lost more weight. I don't know if you can see there. He is slimmed down. And I'm like, okay, Joker, that might be a little this might be too slim for me. I'm not mad at it, but I see you out there living your best life. You know, you chilling, riding the horses around, you doing your thing. But, you know, Twitter had to respond to this as well. Y'all remember that horses? Y'all remember that.
Yes.
But, and this user says, y'all thought skinny Joker was a problem. What about skinnier Jokic? I don't know. If he's not comfortable being light, I don't know obviously he was comfortable. I don't know. This is a weird thing. Maybe it's just because I'm used to seeing him big that this is too skinny for me. But I agree with this next user. He might have to put on some muscle at this point. And then the one on the bottom says, as long as his base is still strong, he'll be fine. His legs are still huge. His arm strength doesn't really matter. I still think you need to put on some muscle. We know that muscle weighs more than fat. I think instead of doing that cardio, you lift some weights, because now you're going to come out there kind of ripped, you know, like Giannis and then go out there and be more intimidating. This might be a little too slim for me. I'm not body shaming at all. I'm just used to Joker at a bigger size, number one, and he said he was more comfortable at a bigger size. So, Devin, what do you think? You need to lift some weights, or what are you thinking?
He is looking skinnier, but I don't think he's looking too skinny at this point. I don't think it would hurt him to go into the gym and lift some heavier weights, but I don't know. I mean, I think that slimming down is not a terrible thing, but if he got any skinnier than this, it would probably not be a good thing for him. But I think he's looking good. And I think if he's feeling healthy and energized, that's going to show on the court too.
Yeah. I just want him to live his best life, because whether I'm cheering for Denver or not, you got to love Joker, period. You can't not like Joker. I just want him to live his best life. So whatever you need to do to feel good about yourself, Joker, I am rocking with it. All right, let's get into this next one, because I'm trying to make this make sense. I really am. So if you don't know, technically the preseason starts tomorrow with the Hall of Fame game between the Cowboys and the Steelers, right? So that's happening tomorrow. The Giants have their first preseason opener against the Jets on the 12th. So for all these teams, NFL training camp, I'm saying that slowly for a reason. Training camp is in full swing. You know, you're supposed to iron out the kinks. You're supposed to impress the coach. You're supposed to build camaraderie with your teammates. But apparently that didn't happen. So I want you to take a look at this tweet. So Matt says, massive fight at the Giants camp. Still funny to me. Anyway, Corey Clement busted a big run. The safety, Logan Ryan, leveled Evan Ingram late. Somehow, Daniel Jones, the quarterback, ended up on the bottom of the pile. So Daniel Jones runs over, and he gets in the middle. Why? You're the quarterback. Why would you do this? Anyway, head coach Joe Judge lined the whole team up on the goal line, and now the entire team is running 100-yard gassers. First of all, why are you guys fighting? It's a lot. So apparently coach was so pissed that safety Logan Ryan had to issue a statement after practice, and he said, quote, I regret any penalty that would cost my team any yards. What? So I guess he's just meaning that whole running back and forth. He said he thinks Daniel Jones jumped in there. Everybody respects Daniel because of what he does. This is a football team. Practice gets physical and chippy, but everything is left between those lines. I'm going to pay my punishment. I was protecting my guy out there. And at the end of the day, I'm a grown man and paid my dues. That's what this thing is about. But the thing is you didn't just pay your dues. This is what used to happen to me in basketball all the time. When one of us gets in a tussle, two of us get in a tussle, the whole team suffers, and we used to have to do suicides. You're not just paying your penalty. The whole team had to do it, because after these little 100-yard gassers, they had to do 10 push-ups. And then some of them were like walking off the field, and then coach was like, no, because he got mad. He didn't dismiss them. They had to do the whole thing again. Everybody was punished because of you. And again, this is practice. So my big question, this whole thing, I think we've got some Giants fans in the chat. I know Kevin Pryor is a Jets fan. Don't understand it, but he's a Jets fan. But if you are a Giants fan, how do you feel about your quarterback running into this fight? That's not your job. And I want you to listen to this what he said after, and let me know how you feel about your quarterback right now if you are a Giants fan. Take a listen.
We're just competing, and everyone's excited first day of pass, get out there, we're going to do a better job, controlling that and making sure we're controlling our enthusiasm and excitement.
Down the bottom of the pile with 90 drunk men around you like that, what were you thinking?
I was fine, yeah, I was all good, no problem.
What was the message? Coach Judge got the message across there?
There's consequences for that kind of stuff, and that's the way it is in the game. If you lose, you're cool. There's consequences that hurts the team, so that was the message, and everyone understands that.
Have you ever seen him that angry before?
He's a pretty, he can get excited, and I think guys respond to it, and he certainly got the message today.
I think Daniel, some people would say, starting quarterback, kind of stay out of that. What made you want to run in and participate?
I'm part of the team, and part of the team, part of the offense, and we're competing, so I don't see myself having.
He's an idiot. I don't know if you heard that last question. They said, what made you want to run in and get involved? He says, I'm part of the team. Bro, you're the quarterback. Ty, I think you might be right. He says he's going to get injured anyway. Might as well get it over with now. This would be very concerning to me if I felt like I had this quarterback that felt like he had to just run into the battle. No, you don't. No, you don't. Let these guys battle it out. They're used to being on that line anyway. This is concerning to me. I do not like this answer from your starting quarterback. This is a problem for me. Maybe, Devin, what do you think about this?
Well, what I also find kind of concerning is that the quarterback ends up at the bottom of the pile. Like, how does that happen?
You can look at him and tell he can't fight. As soon as he's coming, it's like snatch, bam, he out. That's next. No, don't run to the fight.
See, there are a lot of things about this situation. Like, first, why are you fighting? Second, why are you running to get involved in something that you weren't even necessarily involved in the beginning? And how does the quarterback end up at the bottom of the pile? I don't know. Training camp fights happen. I feel like we've heard about this a bunch of times, but this one just seems so bizarre and out of the blue to me. And it's just an especially bad look for, I just can't get over the quarterback at the bottom of the pile. I just can't get over that.
What did he think was going to happen? I could just see, I wish I looked. You guys know that I looked for the video of this, but I just want to see him go, oh, I'm in. Oh, I'm down. How did you think that was going to go? They didn't know at that moment fighting, you just another body, and you just got dealt with really quick. Sir, know your strength. I can look at you and tell throwing hands is not your strength, sir. Know what you're good at. Stick to what you're good at. Don't run to the fight. You the guy that runs away and calls for help. That's your job. Just so you know. I'm sorry. I'm not clowning. Be safe. Be safe out there. Never run to a fight, sir. You ain't that guy. All right, let's go to this next one, you guys, because this one is going to be hilarious. I'm actually going to let you see this whole video of people trying to figure this one out on the Viking squad. But first, I want to see if you guys can figure out this riddle before they do. So let's look at this riddle. So riddle me this, Fumble fam, because this one is hilarious. A cowboy rode into town on Friday, stayed 3 days, and left on a Friday. How did he do it? Okay, you guys put your answers in the chat. I want to see if you can get it before the Vikings get it. On your mark, get set, go. Let's time it. Let's see what the Vikings did.
On Friday, stayed 3 days and left on Friday. How did he do it? He never left.
Thank you. But he say he left though.
Thank you.
But he say he left.
I said he left.
No, but he say he left on Friday.
He made a left on Friday.
There you go. I had to bro.
He made a left on Friday.
On Friday,
Okay,
the street.
Yeah. Yeah, on the street. He made a left on the street.
We done gave man.
I don't think that's it.
This don't got nothing to do with no right or no left turn.
Y'all added extra words to the sentence. You can't add words.
No, he didn't. What you talking about? This man say they made a left on Friday, made a right turn on Saturday. What is this man talking about? Not at home. What is this man talking about? You tripping.
Yeah, the horse named Friday.
Horse named Friday.
The horse named Friday?
Oh.
Okay. See, now that, why you, hey, he spoiled it. We was going to figure it out.
I'm the camera. That's all I'm doing.
Oh, what does this say? Cowboy rode into town on Friday, stayed 3 days, and left on Friday. What about the horse?
The horse named Friday!
There it is.
That was hilarious. Daniel and Jeremiah got it way before the Vikings did. That was hilarious. He made a left on Friday. Where in the United States is there? There probably is, but I have never seen a street named Friday. Y'all, that was hilarious. And the guy in the background, he was like, I got it. He was like, nah. The confusion meant everything for me. I love those kinds of riddles. But the fact that it took them how long to get that, I think I would have got, we should start having riddle Fridays is what we should do and see how long it takes us to figure out some of these riddles. That was a lot of fun. That's what you want to see your teammates doing though. Laughing at each other at how slow they are. But you don't want to see nobody run into a fight. This is what you do.
No. What a huge contrast between the two teams. Right. The Vikings are over there laughing and making fun of each other, and they're getting so excited when they figure the riddle out, and then meanwhile everybody else is dogpiling on top of a quarterback at a training camp. So yeah,
Right.
this is the kind of camaraderie and chemistry you want to see. Also, I would like to say I got that in my head. I had the answer long before anybody did, so I figured it out.
I would have to, when I was listening to it, I was like, okay, well, mathematically speaking, it's impossible. So what, because, I just immediately went to math. I'm too analytical like that. And it took me a minute. I got it about the same time that Jeremiah and Daniel did. I was like, okay. Oh, he wrote in. I was probably the horse. Like, I was a little late with it. I ain't gonna lie. All right, you guys. That's all I have for the post up. That was a fun way to get out of here. I really think we should do like a Riddle Friday or something like that. That's amazing. But this next one almost caused me to be a little bit late getting onto this show because I was so enthralled in trying to figure out why this is happening. Is there an explanation? Is there a backstory that I don't know about? Because there has to be. This doesn't make any sense to me because most of these guys, when they start playing football, even basketball, but we're talking about football right now, when you get to the college level, by that time, that dream is so ingrained in you. All you want to do is make it to the NFL. That's it. And then after you get into the NFL, then the dream becomes winning a Super Bowl. But that's how this works. I want to get into the NFL. So when you actually get drafted and fulfill your dream, it is a huge deal. And now you are just working hard to get to that next step, which is be really good on your team, become a starter if you're not a starter, and then get that Super Bowl title. So these are not dreams that people give up. In fact, it's quite the opposite. We see guys play long after they should have stopped and then, bring on injuries to themselves late in life. It's usually you got to drag these guys off the field, or at the very least, just don't, bring them back for a season before they actually quit. So I'm not exactly sure what's going on here. We know that Green Bay has a problem. Aaron Rodgers let us know that in no uncertain terms. There is a problem in Green Bay with the way that they treat players, especially veteran players. There's a lack of respect for Aaron Rodgers and other players. He let us know that as well. They've temporarily resolved their Aaron Rodgers problem because he's there for this season, but he's also very salty. We know that. But now there seems to be a rookie problem, which again, when you're talking about rookies that have this dream, it's weird to have this rookie problem. So I want you to take a look at this tweet because I don't understand this one at all. It said the Packers announced that outside lineman Simon has decided to retire. The 6th round pick, number 209 overall. I wasn't going to do, my boy Babusa. I wasn't doing that, so I just skipped it. The 6th round in the 2020 draft was coming off an ACL surgery when he came into the league and didn't play at all as a rookie. He was on the field when camp started, but he was absent the last 2 days. All right, so this one, if it had just been this, I think we all would have been able to write this off. Coming off of an ACL injury is very difficult. It's a very difficult injury to come back from. Basketball is one thing, but when you talk about the physicality of football, you could probably say to yourself, you know what, this young man got scared and he just kind of saw the writing on the wall. Maybe he did some reading about CTE. He's going into the league with a health problem. Maybe it's just not worried. Maybe it's not worth it for him. If that had been the situation, if it was just one guy, you could have written it off. I think I would have had an easier time writing this off. But then you see this next one. So this next one, again, rookie wide receiver, Bailey Gaither has retired. The retirement when you're a rookie is very interesting. He said he played 6 seasons at San Jose State and had one of the best catches during the offseason program. The Packers have signed a former Northern Illinois tight end, Daniel Crawford. He's wearing number 80 today. Neither one of these tweets by these reporters who are covering the Green Bay Packers go into, hey, I talked to these 2 men after they retired. They said this. Or, hey, the coach says they spoke to these 2 players. They retired because of this. They just throw out these tweets and that's it. So then I did a little bit more reading on it. I looked high and low, you guys. I could not find any reason, no interview, nothing that says why these 2 athletes, because usually even if it's their hometown, somebody would have caught wind that they retired, and then some local newspaper would say, oh, hometown hero retires early, and then he'll state why. Couldn't find that anywhere. It looked high and low. maybe it'll come out later today and we can get an update. But I decided to go to their Twitter, and then that's when things really got suspicious, okay? Because both of them, like if you Google their names and go to Twitter, I don't know if you guys know that, but when you Google somebody's name and then put Twitter after it, whatever they had in their bio comes up. Like it'll say Simon, that guy, and then it'll say whatever he has in his bio, so you know it's active. So I clicked on it. The account has been deleted. For Bailey, same thing. That account has been deleted. Both players had an active Twitter, retired, and now both accounts are deleted. No Instagram, no Facebook that I could find, which I don't expect. Facebook is not something that anybody who's in a certain demographic uses anymore. So I get that. So I'm going to tell you this right now. All of this is speculation. But I watch way too much crime TV. Way too much crime TV. So to me, this says that these two young men were involved in something that they should not have been involved in. And before that all comes out, then the Green Bay Packers said, you know what? Why don't y'all go ahead and retire? We're not going to, actually, we'll give you whatever little signing bonus or whatever. You guys retire now. We can't have you disparage our franchise in any way. We are already going through enough. We need you guys to retire and retire right now. They probably signed some sort of NDA and said, okay, get off social media for a while. But now the only question I have is this something that they were involved in that was illegal that's going to make the franchise look bad? Or did Green Bay do something to these two young men that now they maybe got some sort of settlement and they're just disappearing into the night? I don't know, but this is very suspicious to me. So what I'm not going to do is stop investigating this. I promise you, if I figure out what happened to these two men, I would hope that it's something simple. Like maybe they just sat back and was like, nah, I done read too much about CTE. But the fact that they both deleted their Twitter and they're both rookies that retired without playing one down is very suspicious to me. It speaks to a bigger problem. I don't know what the bigger problem is, but I think something happened and I will find out. I will keep you guys posted. Devin, do you agree with me? Do you think that this means that there's a bigger problem, or do you think that they both just said, no, it's not worth it?
Definitely don't think they said, no, it's not worth it. I feel like that's so far from what happened here. And Jackie, weren't you an investigative journalist when you were living in that island?
Taipan.
So I have faith that you're going to be able, what was the island again?
Taipan.
Taipan, yes, that's right. So I have faith that you're going to be able to figure it out. While you were going over this, because when I read this in the morning, before we went live, I thought it was so bizarre that there was so little information about it. And so I started kind of trying to do a deep dive and figure out what other people are saying. There are some people that are saying, one of the guys, I can't remember which one, played 6 seasons at San Jose State University. So maybe his body's beat up and he doesn't feel like he can do it anymore. Don't really think that seems like a legitimate reason to retire once you finally make it to the pro team. Another said that maybe they didn't want to get vaccinated and they felt the pressure to do that. And then JD in the chat is saying something about a party and somebody getting tased. And there's a video online about it, but I haven't been able to find that so far.
I'll definitely keep looking. Haven't seen that. I checked Instagram, I checked Twitter, I did not check Snapchat. Snapchat and Facebook just is one of those things I do not use, so I didn't check either of those. I could check TikTok, but nobody really talks about things like that on TikTok, so I just don't know yet.
JD, can you send us the video? Can you message it to us? Because on Instagram, like you can send it to Jackie or me because we want to know. I'll put our handles in the chat so you can find us. But yeah, I don't know. This is very, very, very bizarre.
Here's the thing. Even if JD is right and there was a fight, this is not the first time we've had a fight situation. It wasn't his rookie season. I think it was his sophomore season. But Dak Prescott got in a whole fight with his mama at the mall. And it wasn't like, oh, all of a sudden he needed to think about retirement. Yeah, go ahead and right there. But that's not one of those things that, and even if that's the thing, then the organization would say it. And then you would see some sort of fake apology from both of these guys saying, I apologize. You know, this is outside of my character. This is not who I am. You know, the standard PR apology. they don't just go missing and retire. That's not what you do. So even if there was a fight, that there had to be something more to that fight than just a plain old fight. Because that just doesn't sound right to me. But we'll see.
We'll see. Very, very bizarre situation. Now I'm seeing that he was talking about someone else. I didn't realize. I was just seeing those messages come in during What We Not Gonna Do. So I was like, oh, he's talking about that. Anyway, very strange situation. Jackie is the investigative journalist over here at the Fumble, so she will figure it out. I believe it. You guys, just as a reminder, we do have Fan or Foe coming up on Friday, so make sure you submit your comments, questions, clapbacks in the comment section below and in our live chat tomorrow, and we'll address them on Friday at the end of the show. We also obviously are going to have more free agency news coming up. We have more Olympic coverage coming up later today, so make sure you check that out. Subscribe, tap the bell, leave a comment below, share this video with your friends, and we'll see you guys tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Bye, guys!